Right. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. It's time now for public comment on the agenda item, on this agenda item that we've been discussing all morning on bisphenol S. And so the public should feel free to comment on any aspect of the presentation or discussion. And Amy is going to share some slides with us on how to provide public comment. So as a reminder, you must be in the Zoom meeting to provide oral comment, and instructions for how to join the meeting are available on OEA's webpage for this meeting and are also shown on this slide. If you would like to make a public comment, you can click on the Zoom webinar raise hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. And when your name is called, you will be prompted to unmute yourself. Please then unmute yourself and provide your comment. You may also state your name and affiliation. And just another reminder that public comment is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. So I'd like to ask Kiana if there are any raised hands. And is there anyone else wishing to provide public comment?
I'm looking through the list and I do not see any raised hands.
All right. So then, seeing none, I'll bring the conversation back to the committee for any further discussion on the matter before the vote. So any committee members who have additional comments or discussion they would like to make, please raise your hands and I'll call on you. Not seeing raised hands. Then we will, I'm going to ask everyone if you're ready to vote. Is there anyone who's not ready to vote? That might be the simpler question. Please raise your hands. Okay, all right, it looks like everyone is ready to vote. So then I'm going to read the question before the committee, which is what we will be voting on. And that is, has bisphenol S been clearly shown through scientifically valid testing according to generally accepted principles to cause reproductive toxicity based on female reproductive toxicity? So now I will call each of your names and ask you to vote yes, no, or abstain on this question. And I'll go in alphabetical order. Dr. Aller?
Yes.
All right. Dr. Aoyun Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Baskin?
Yes.
Dr. Breton?
Yes.
Dr. Carmichael?
Yes.
I will vote yes also. And Dr. Nazmi?
Yes.
Dr. Pessa?
Yes.
And Dr. Plopper?
Yes.
All right, that is everyone. So by my count, that is unanimous. All 9 members voted yes. And 6 are required to add a chemical to the list. So let's see, I guess Amy, then, well, I guess I've tallied the vote and you've also tallied the vote. And then, so Lauren, then I will turn it over to you for summary of the committee action.
Okay, certainly there were unanimous vote of the attending members, 9 yeses. And so the chemical will be added to the Proposition 60. Bisphenol S will be added to the Proposition 65 list for reproductive toxicity for the female reproductive endpoint. Back to you,
All right, thank you. So there's a 15-minute break scheduled, but I don't think we need that
We need it.
since we just came back.
Yeah.
All right. So then we'll move right on to the consent item, which is an update of the California Code of Regulations, Title 27, Section 27,000, the list of chemicals which have not been adequately tested as required, and we're now ready to take up this item. So we're being asked to affirm changes in response to submissions from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Pollution, Prevention, and Toxics, the California Department of Pesticide Regulation, and U.S. EPA's Office of Pesticide Programs have indicated that there are no changes. This is a ministerial duty of the committee in that we rely on information provided to OEHA by the Department of Pesticide Regulation and US EPA to identify the chemicals that need to be added or removed from the Section 27,000 list. So I'd like to invite environmental scientist in the Proposition 65 implementation program, Kiana Vaghefi, to give the staff presentation on this item. Kiana?
Thank you, Dr. Luderer. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Proposition 65 requires the state to publish and update annually a list of chemicals that are required to be tested under state or federal law for carcinogenicity or reproductive toxicity and that have not yet been adequately tested as required. This list can be found in Title 27, Section 27,000 of the California Code of Regulations, and is commonly referred to as the Section 27,000 list. It's separate and distinct from the Proposition 65 list of chemicals known to cause cancer or reproductive toxicity. The Section 27,000 list has no regulatory impact. It does not require that any testing be done. Rather, it is a source of information concerning chemicals that need further testing pursuant to state or federal law. To update the list, OEHA requests information from the California Department of Pesticide Regulation and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Pollution Prevention and Toxics and Office of Pesticide Programs each year. This year, OEHA staff reviewed these responses and identified one recommended change to the Section 27,000 list. Addition of 2,2,3-trifluoro-3-trifluoromethyloxyrane, also known as hexafluoropropylene oxide, or HFPO. Based on information received from US EPA's OPPT, further carcinogenicity, reproductive toxicity, and developmental toxicity testing are required. The letter from OPPT, along with additional background, response letters from DPR and OPP, and a mock-up of the proposed change are available in the staff report provided to the committee and posted online on November 23rd. The proposed change is also shown on the slide. As Dr. Luderer mentioned, this is a consent item and a ministerial duty of the committee in that the DARTIC and CIC committees use the information provided by DPR and US EPA to identify the chemicals that need to be added to or removed from the Section 27,000 list. We ask the committee members to vote in favor of the proposed change so OEHA can update the list. I'll now turn it back over to Dr. Luderer, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Kiana. Are there any questions from committee members? And as a reminder, this is a consent item. Any questions? Let's see, from committee members. Looking, and I do not see any raised hands. So in that case, then I will read the question that we would be voting on, which is, should Section 27,000 of the Title 27 of the California Code of Regulations be amended as indicated in the staff report? And I will now call your names and ask you to vote yes, no, or abstain on this question in alphabetical order. So Dr. Allard?
Yes.
Dr. Au-Yun Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Baskin?
Yes.
Dr. Breton?
Yes.
Dr. Carmichael?
Yes.
And I will vote yes also. Dr. Nazmi,
Yes.
Dr. Pessa,
Yes.
and Dr. Plopper.
Yes.
All right. Again, the vote is unanimous, 9 yeses, which is a unanimous vote. And so then Amy will tally the vote and provide to Lauren. Okay.
So I think we've just
Okay.
heard that we've got a unanimous
Yes.
vote to make that change to the section 27,000. So thank you.
Uh-huh. And then next we have some staff updates on Proposition 65 listings, regulations, and litigation that have taken place since our last meeting. So Kiana, then, will you present the chemical listings and safe harbor levels? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, all right, the screen is up. All right, thank you, Dr. Luderer. I'll be providing you with an update on important Proposition 65 developments since the last DARTIC meeting. I'll start by going over the chemicals or endpoints added to the Proposition 65 list, as well as data call-ins requesting information on chemical toxicity. Then I'll review adopted and proposed safe harbor levels. After that, I'll turn it over to our Chief Counsel, Carolyn Rowan, to provide an update on other regulatory actions and significant Proposition 65 litigation. Since the committee's last meeting, 11 chemicals have been added to the Proposition 65 list: 1-bromo-3-chloropropane, 1-butyl glycetyl ether, glycetyl methacrylate, 1,1,1-trichloroethane, leucomalachite green, anthracene, 2-bromopropane, dimethyl hydrogen phosphite, coal tar pitch, fluoroedenite fibrous amphibole, and silicon carbide whiskers were all added as carcinogens. Today, the DARTIC considered listing BPS as causing female reproductive toxicity. BPS remains under consideration for listing as causing developmental and male reproductive toxicity. Information from the BPS data call-in will be used in preparation of a hazard identification document for a future DARTIC meeting on these endpoints. Additionally, OEHA issued a data call-in on vinyl acetate to solicit information related to its carcinogenicity. This information is being used in the preparation of a hazard identification document for future consideration by the Carcinogen Identification Committee. All right, since the committee's last meeting, a cancer no significant risk level was adopted for inhalation exposures to antimony trioxide, which will become effective January 1st, 2024. We propose an update to the no significant risk level for exposure to ethylene oxide from 2 micrograms per day to 0.058 micrograms per day. And now I will turn things over to Carolyn.
Thanks, Kiana. I have a couple updates on other regulatory actions that have taken place since the committee last met. First, OEHA's regulation regarding exposures to acrylamide in cooked and heat processed foods became effective on April 1st, 2023. This regulation provides a limited exception to the Proposition 65 warning requirement when acrylamide levels are at the lowest level currently feasible, and it sets forth safe harbor levels for acrylamide in specific food categories. Second, on October 27th, 2023, OEHA noticed a proposed rulemaking that would amend and add new sections to the safe harbor warning regulations. OEHA is proposing amendments to sections 25601, 25602, 25603, and 25607.2. and would add new sections 25607.50 through 25607.53 to Title 27 of the California Code of Regulations. The proposal is a continuation of a similar rulemaking proposal that was initiated in 2021, which we have voluntarily withdrew to take additional time to incorporate public input. The proposal would provide information to consumers and disincentivize unnecessary prophylactic warnings by amending existing short form safe harbor warnings to include the name of a carcinogen or a reproductive toxicant, or both, for which a business is warning. The proposal includes a 2-year period for businesses to gradually transition to the new warning. And the proposal also includes safe harbor status for short form warning content on food products, clarifications to internet and catalog safe harbor warning requirements, and warning options for off-highway and motor vehicle and recreational marine vessel parts. A public hearing is scheduled for tomorrow, December 13th, and the public comment period is scheduled to close on December 20th. OEHA will have a year from the date of the notice to submit a final package to the Office of Administrative Law. Okay. On the litigation front, I'd like to update you on a few developments. On November 7th, 2023, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals issued a decision in the National Association of Wheat Growers versus Bonta case. The decision held that Proposition 65 warnings for exposures to glyphosate are not purely factual and uncontroversial and violate the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The deadline to file a petition for rehearing is December 21st. The California Chamber of Commerce versus Bonta case also involves a First Amendment challenge. That one is to acrylamide warnings for food, and the case is pending in federal district court. I don't have any significant updates to report on that. In September of 2023, the Personal Care Products Council filed another First Amendment challenge to warnings for titanium dioxide, airborne unbound particles of respirable size for cosmetic and personal care products. The plaintiff filed a preliminary injunction motion, and the court has yet to rule on that motion. Finally, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine versus Newsom case, which is a challenge to the decision not to list processed meats as a carcinogen, is still pending in Sacramento Superior Court, and I don't have any significant developments to report on that case. And that's it for my litigation update. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the update. So I'm now going to ask OEA Director Lauren Zeiss to summarize the committee actions.
Thank you, Rika. Dr. Luter. So the committee unanimously voted to add bisphenol S to the Proposition 65 list based on reproductive toxicity for the female reproductive toxicity endpoint. The committee also unanimously voted to add HFPO to the Section 27,000 list based on a US EPA requirement for carcinogenicity and reproductive and developmental toxicity testing. And this was a consent item. So with that, I'd like to thank the committee for all the effort that went into preparing for today's meeting and for participating in today's meeting. We really do appreciate all the work that goes into making judgments about reproductive toxicity and covering our all the materials that are submitted to you to review. So very much appreciate that. We also appreciate the participation of the audience and attending this meeting. And then finally, also like to thank the OES staff from the Reproductive and Cancer Hazard Assessment Branch, in particular the Reproductive Toxicology and Epidemiology section. You can imagine the tremendous amount of effort that went into preparation of the hazard identification materials. So that was a big lift, and appreciate all that effort. Also like to thank the Proposition 65 implementation team and the legal team for getting this meeting organized and together, and for all of the legal and other ways in which those two teams support this effort. So, and so finally, I just want to wish everyone a happy holidays, and again, express my appreciation and turn it back to you, Ulrika, Dr. Luter.
Thank you, Dr. Zeiss. And I would also like to thank everyone, all the staff who worked very hard on this, and all the members of the DART IC, and also wish everyone a very happy holidays. And with that, I declare the meeting adjourned.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.